Are you losing 12 hours of your cruise vacation waiting in lines you booked this trip to escape? You booked this for freedom, luxury, and ocean views, not to stand behind 200 people fighting for a burger or a slow-moving elevator. But here is the truth. The cruise line has its own hidden time tax. Every ship, every itinerary, and every single day, there are invisible bottlenecks designed to move you efficiently for them, not for you. Today, we're revealing the 14 biggest time wasters every cruiser must avoid and how to skip them like a pro. 1. The lunchtime buffet crush. The midday buffet rush is the single biggest vacation killer on any ship. Every veteran cruiser knows the 12:30 p.m. Lido deck stampede. On a recent Carnival sailing, I watched hundreds of passengers flood the buffet line at the exact same moment. Trays were clattering, tempers were rising, and by the time most people found a seat, their fries were cold and their stress was through the roof. Most passengers think the buffet is the only option because it's the most visible. But the consequence of joining the herd is that you spend 45 minutes of prime sunshine time in a loud, humid room fighting for a slice of lukewarm pizza. This isn't just about the wait. It's about the lost value of your afternoon. The cruise lines actually designed this traffic jam because it helps with their staffing and cleanup schedules. But that is your loss. To beat the system, you have to cruise smart, not scheduled. If you want the buffet, head up at 11:30 a.m. or wait until 1:30 p.m. But here is the real pro secret. Find the hidden secondary stations that 90% of guests never notice. Look for the backside grill, the pizzeria tucked behind the pool, or the small taco bar near the aft deck. Ivy walked up to these with zero wait while the main line was 40 people deep. Instead of following the crowd, find the side kiosk, dining options on your app, and eat like a king while everyone else is still waiting for a clean fork. 2. The midship elevator trap. If you are relying on midship elevators during peak times, you are effectively choosing to spend your vacation in a metal box. It is the single biggest slow burn frustration on any Royal Caribbean or NCL ship. You hit the call button and wait. Then you wait some more. When the doors finally slide open, the elevator is already packed to the gills, and it stops on every single deck like it's on a sightseeing tour. I once timed a friend who insisted on waiting for the midship elevator while I took the aft stairs from deck 7 to deck 15. By the time his doors finally opened on the pool deck, I was already stretched out on a sun lounger with a drink in my hand. He had spent 8 minutes of his life staring at the back of someone's head. I had spent 30 seconds getting a mini workout and 7 minutes relaxing. The problem is that midship is the busiest section of the ship, especially during meal times or show transitions. It becomes a total bottleneck of strollers, wheelchairs, and large groups. Every minute you wait for that ding is one less minute in the sun. If you are physically able, use the forward or aft stairwells. They are almost always empty and surprisingly quiet. If you must use an elevator, walk to the less-known banks near the spa or the conference decks. They are ghost towns compared to the midship madness. 3. The Great Deck Chair Hunt. Wandering the pool deck like a lost explorer is a massive waste of your precious sea day. It is 10 a.m., the sun is out, and the Great Deck Chair Hunt has begun. You spend 20 minutes circling the pool like a vulture, scanning rows of towels, reserving chairs for passengers who haven't been seen in hours. Most cruisers don't realize that cruise lines actually let this chair hog behavior happen on purpose. It creates crowd pressure, making the main deck feel so chaotic that frustrated guests eventually give up and pay $40 for a pass to the quieter, adult-only decks like the Serenity Retreat or Vibe Beach Club. It's a subtle way to nudge you toward a paid upgrade. The consequence is that you spend the best part of your morning frustrated and sweaty instead of relaxing. Don't fall for it. On a Caribbean sailing last year, I gave up on the pool crowd entirely and found a massive row of empty chairs behind the funnel deck. I had ocean views, zero noise, and 3 hours of pure quiet while others were still fighting over a spot near the loudspeakers. To save your morning, either claim your spot before 9 a.m. or head to the promenade decks or the forward observation lounges. They are peaceful, breezy, and almost always empty. 4. The Shore Excursion Muster. The theater sweatbox is an outdated ritual that steals your time in port. You are told to meet in the ship's theater at 8 a.m. for your excursion, only to spend 45 minutes sitting in a crowded room before you even leave the ship. This ritual started decades ago before smartphones and digital tracking, but cruise lines keep it alive partly for control and partly to funnel you through photo stations and kiosks on the way out. Think about it. You are on a beautiful island like Jamaica or Cozumel, but instead of seeing the sights, you are sitting in a dark theater with 500 other people. I once watched a group spend nearly an hour in the lounge for a catamaran tour that didn't even leave the pier until 9:30 a.m. They were frustrated before the tour even started. The real boarding process always happens at the gangway, not the theater. Most of that lounge time is just the staff waiting for the absolute last person to show up. You don't need to be that early. Do this instead. Get your excursion sticker or wristband as soon as the lounge opens. Then leave and go grab a coffee nearby on an open deck. Only head to the gangway when you actually see the groups moving. 5. The guest services snake. Standing in the guest services line is the universal time sink at sea. Every cruiser has seen it. That long, snaking line near the atrium filled with people clutching paper printouts and looking miserable. Whether it's a billing error, a towel dispute, or a question about the next port, 90% of those people don't actually need to be standing there. I once saw 25 people waiting to dispute a $5 minibar charge on the final night. If those people spent 30 minutes in that line, they essentially paid themselves $10 an hour to stand in a hallway on their last night of vacation. That is a terrible trade-off. The truth is that almost every issue handled at that desk can be solved from the comfort of your cabin. You can check your account balance, report a leaky faucet, or even book a shuttle through the Cruise Line's app or by calling the desk from your stateroom phone. I once had a billing error fixed in under 2 minutes with a simple phone call while the line downstairs was still 20 people deep. Never stand when you can solve the problem sitting down. Use the app or the stateroom phone and save your sanity. 6. The onboard reservation race. The day one booking panic is a controlled illusion designed to make you spend money early. The moment you board a ship like the Wonder of the Seas, you'll see thousands of people rushing to the specialty dining desks or the shore excursion kiosks. They are terrified that everything will be sold out within the hour. The consequence is that you spend your first 2 hours of vacation, the most exciting part of the trip, standing in a queue or wrestling with a glitchy app in the lobby. I've seen families argue over dinner times for 30 minutes while the pool was perfectly empty right above them. Here's the catch. Cruise lines intentionally release only a limited number of slots early to create this sense of urgency. They often hold back 20 to 30% of reservations to release midweek for guests who missed out. To skip this waste, book everything online weeks before you even leave home. If you must do it on board, use the interactive TV in your cabin the moment you walk in and skip the lobby chaos entirely. 7. The formal night dinner line. Aiming for the popular 6 p.m. dinner slot on formal night is a guaranteed way to wait. Formal night is when everyone dresses up, takes photos in the atrium, and then tries to funnel into the main dining room at the exact same time. The maitre d' is overwhelmed, the kitchen is slammed, and the atmosphere feels more like a busy mall than a luxury cruise. On my first cruise, I spent 25 minutes standing in heels, bumping into tuxedos, just to get to my table. By the time the bread arrived, I was already tired of being in that room. Most people pick the early slot because it feels standard, but it's the most chaotic hour on the ship. The later seating, usually around 8 o'clock or 8:30 p.m., is a completely different world. The service is calmer, the kitchen has found its rhythm, and the waiters actually have time to provide that personalized service you paid for. You get the same lobster, the same steak, and the same atmosphere, but without the headache. If you want elegance, skip the rush hour glamour and book the late seating. You'll walk straight to your table and enjoy a much more relaxed 2-hour dinner. 8. The late night towel search. Towel exchanges are one of cruising's smallest, yet most irritating time wasters. Picture this. You've just come back from a perfect evening swim under the stars, and now you're standing barefoot hunting for a towel hut that closed at 6 p.m. If you miss that cutoff, you often end up at guest services just to swap out a soggy towel, so you don't get charged a lost towel fee of $25. It's a ridiculous loop to be stuck in. I've seen people spend 10 minutes of their night arguing over towel cards. The fix is incredibly simple, but requires a tiny bit of prep. On day 1, grab 2 fresh towels instead of 1. Keep a backup towel stashed inside your cabin closet at all times. This is your emergency reserve for late-night jacuzzis. unexpected rain on a shore excursion, or a spill in the room. By keeping a backup towel in your cabin, you eliminate the need to ever stand in a towel queue or worry about the hot closing times. 9. The art auction trap. Unless you are a serious collector, the onboard art auction is a massive time sponge disguised as an event. They lure you in with promises of free champagne, limited edition prints, and raffle prizes. But once you're in that dark lounge, you are essentially at a high-pressure sales seminar. I once lasted 15 minutes in an auction before realizing that the free champagne was actually just cheap Prosecco and the raffle prize was a coupon for a store I'd never visit. Outside, the sun was setting over the ocean in a display of colors that was far more beautiful than anything on a canvas in that room. You will easily waste 90 minutes in an auction, only to realize that the pricing and shipping fees make most of the deals less than stellar. If you aren't there to buy, you are just trading your vacation time for a tiny plastic cup of bubbles. Skip the auction entirely and use that hour for a walk on the promenade deck. Some of the best art on the ship is the view from the railing, and it's always free. 10. The Wi-Fi and loyalty trap. Wrestling with the ship's Wi-Fi login on embarkation day is a digital nightmare. Thousands of people are trying to connect at once, the servers are lagging, and the line at the Internet Manager desk is out the door. People waste their first hour on board staring at a loading screen. The same goes for those loyalty program seminars. They promise exclusive deals for your next cruise, but the truth is those same deals are almost always available in the app or at a self-service kiosk any time of day. I watched a couple spend 45 minutes in a theater listening to a sales pitch for a cruise they could have booked on their phone in 3 minutes. To avoid the Wi-Fi lag, set up your account and password in the port terminal before you board. Most ships allow you to create your login while you're still on land. Once you're on board, your phone will connect instantly while others are still panicking. Set up your tech on land and ignore the loyalty seminars. Your time is worth more than a special booking offer that you can find on the app anyway. 11. Waiting for the tender. Being the first person in line for a tender boat is an exercise in frustration. When a ship can T-dock, like in Grand Cayman or Santorini, you have to take smaller boats to shore. Hundreds of people rush the gangway at 8 a.m., resulting in a humid, crowded wait in a narrow hallway. I've seen people sweat for an hour in a stairwell just to be on the first boat. The consequence is that they reach the shore exhausted and annoyed before the day has even begun. If you don't have an early excursion, there is absolutely no reason to be in that first wave. The frenzy almost always dies down by 10:30 a.m. By 11 a.m., the tender boats run continuously and are often half empty. You can walk straight from your breakfast table, down the stairs, and onto a boat with zero wait. Let the impatient passengers clear the way first. You'll reach the island with more energy and less stress by waiting just 90 minutes. 12. Disembarkation Day Lounge Sitting. Sitting in a lounge for 3 hours on the final morning is a depressing way to end your trip. Most passengers follow the standard instructions. They leave their bags outside the door at night and then sit in a designated lounge waiting for their color or number to be called. The consequence is that you spend your last few hours of vacation in a crowded theater with a bunch of people who are also sad to be leaving. It feels like a waiting room at a dentist's office. On my last cruise, I chose self-assist disembarkation. I kept my own bags, had a quiet coffee on the balcony, and walked off the ship at 7:15 a.m. I was in an Uber and headed to the airport while my friends were still sitting in the theater staring at their luggage tags. If you don't want to carry your bags, do the opposite. Have a full, slow breakfast and wait until the very last call. Either leave first with self-assist or leave last with a full stomach. Never spend the middle of the morning sitting in a lounge waiting for a number. 13. The embarkation luggage delay. Waiting for your suitcase to arrive at your cabin is a rookie mistake that stalls your first day. Most people board the ship, head to their cabin, and then sit there waiting for their bags to be delivered so they can change into their swimwear. The truth is that bags often don't reach the cabins until 4 o'clock or 5 p.m. If you spend that time waiting in your room, you've basically wasted your entire first afternoon. I've seen people miss the sail away party because they were too busy checking the hallway for their suitcases. The fix is the day one kit. Pack a small carry-on bag with your swimsuit, sunscreen, medications, a charger, and one change of clothes. The moment you board, head straight to the pool or the bar. I was swimming in the grotto by noon on my last cruise, while others were still guarding their cabin doors like soldiers. Don't babysit your bags. Pack your essentials in a carry-on and start your vacation the second you step on board. 14. The Daily Planner Black Hole. Scanning the thick paper itinerary every night is cruise marketing, not cruise living. Every evening, a paper planner is left on your bed. Many passengers spend 15 or 20 minutes every night highlighting trivia games and jewelry raffles they will never actually attend. The consequence is that you get overwhelmed by choice paralysis. You try to do everything and end up enjoying nothing. Most of those paper listings are just advertisements for the ship's shops and spa treatments. The pro move is to use the cruise app and filter by activity type. Only star the 3 or 4 things you actually care about, like the main show, the happy hour, and dinner. The app will send you a polite notification 10 minutes before the event starts, so you don't have to keep checking your watch or a piece of paper. The paper might feel nostalgic, but it's a time thief. Use the app to filter the noise and focus on the 3 things that actually matter to you. Your time is the most expensive thing you bring on a cruise. Don't let it be stolen by bad habits. We've covered 14 ridiculous time wasters, from elevators to art auctions, that can easily eat up 12 hours of your trip. Cruise lines value efficiency, but you should value your experience. Now that you know how to beat the system, you can spend your next cruise doing what matters, relaxing and living, not waiting. If these tips helped you, hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments, which one of these time traps have you fallen into before? Until next time, cruise smart, stay kind, and go watch our next video on the 12 things banned on cruise ships in 2025 so you stay out of trouble.